In May of 2004, Sedley Alley was waiting to die on Tennessee's death row. He would file a petition on the 4th of May, less than 1 month before his scheduled execution date. This would be the first time Alley would claim his innocence through counsel. He wanted DNA testing carried out on hairs and swabs recovered during the murder investigation because he believed it would establish his innocence. His request would be denied, and Sedley would try once again in 2006. Mr. Alley would be executed before the testing could be carried out. Now, his daughter April and the Innocence Project have taken up the battle to potentially clear his name. Nevertheless, prosecutors and the Shelby County District Attorney General still believe that they got the right man. Some evidence supports that notion. Sedley first claimed his innocence through counsel many years after the murder. His vehicle was identified by the 2 male Marines, and it had a Kentucky license plate, just like the guard at the gate said. When Mr. Alley was arrested, detectives would find him laundering a pair of shorts that he had been wearing. Those shorts tested positive for human blood in 31 different areas. A search of his station wagon found stains that appeared to be blood on the exterior. Those stains matched the victim's blood type as well as Sedley's. Investigators found hairs in his car that they say visibly matches Suzanne's hair. A screwdriver was found at the scene, and Sedley identified it as the one he had used on the victim. He confessed to using the broken tree limb to make it appear that Suzanne had been raped. A 31-inch tree limb was found at the scene. Around 4 p.m. on July the 12th, Sedley led naval investigators to the site of the murder and correctly showed them which tree the limb had come from. By this time, the crime scene had been cleared, so there was no caution tape or markers. While the evidence is damning, there are a few inconsistencies, and new evidence has come to light that may clear Alley's name. Evidence obtained from the medical examiner's files indicate that Suzanne died sometime between 1:30 and 3:30 a.m. By this time, Sedley had been interviewed by police and had returned home. He was last seen on the front porch of his house with his wife at 1:27 a.m. There is no evidence that he left the base after that. Eyewitness statements may match Sedley's vehicle, but they do not match Sedley himself. An eyewitness saw Suzanne Collins being approached by a man described as 5'8", with short dark hair and black shorts. Alley stood 6'4". At the time of the murder, he was wearing blue jean shorts, he had a full beard, was wearing glasses, and had long reddish blonde hair. The witness was unable to identify Alley in a police lineup, but did at the trial. Alley's confession was not 100% accurate. There was no evidence that Suzanne had been struck by a vehicle or that she had been stabbed in the head with a screwdriver. The Innocence Project claims that Sedley never led authorities to the crime scene. It says that a naval security officer is on record saying that Mr. Alley was to be taken to the scene by officers. When interviewed and arrested, Sedley had no physical injuries on his body. He was never caught in possession of Suzanne's possessions. Fingerprints, shoe prints, and tire patterns discovered at the scene did not match Sedley Alley's. The Innocence Project has pointed to 2 other possible suspects. One was Suzanne's boyfriend, John Borup. He admitted to being with Suzanne in his car on the base that night. He had jogged with her before, so he knew the route that she would travel. He also had a motive. Suzanne was on the verge of graduating, so she would be leaving Millington, Tennessee the following day to join her fiancé in California. The Innocence Project suggests that jealousy might have drove John Borup to kill Suzanne Collins. They also note that his physical appearance more closely matches that of eyewitness descriptions, and he had access to a car similar to that of Sedley. Borup was interviewed by police who say he yielded no information of any value. Earlier this year, Innocent Project co-founder Barry Shack received a phone call from investigators in St. Louis who pointed to a possible new suspect. Thomas Bruce was locked away in a jail cell in Missouri, charged with sexually assaulting 2 women and killing another at a Catholic supply store. Shack said investigators told him that Bruce had attended the same avionics class as Suzanne in Millington. On Monday, November the 18th of 2019, Memphis judge Paula Scahan would rule on April Alley's petition for new DNA testing. She concluded that Alley's estate didn't have standing to file a petition for DNA analysis under the Post-Conviction DNA Analysis Act. She ultimately sided with the state, which argued that only a convicted person could file a petition and that Sedley's estate did not qualify as a person. Scahan also said that the evidence attorneys wanted tested would be preserved. Shelby County District Attorney General Amy Wurich confirmed that they agreed with the ruling. A written statement read, "After 43 years of appeals by the defense, the Collins family continues to be the only victim in this case. The Innocence Project has confirmed that appeal had been filed immediately." A statement on their website went on to say that, as the court noted in its decision today, the Tennessee Supreme Court acknowledged 5 years after Sedley Alley was executed that it made a mistake in denying his request for DNA testing just prior to his execution. And if Tennessee executed an innocent person, we should know about it, and the person who did it should be identified. Ultimately, this case is likely far from over, and many will continue to doubt Sedley's guilt until that DNA testing is carried out.